You do still intend to kill your target, do you not? Is your reputation not on the line?
Are you still on about this, woman?
I am led to believe that the crows would never permit such a transgression. They will come after you and in force.
It has come to my attention that the crows are not always successful when pit against the Grey Wardens and their companions.
Perhaps they will send someone competent next time.
You wound me.
I have considered doing far more than that, trust me. So you do not fear the crows at all?
I think of it more as my desire to leave them far exceeds the fear I possess of them.
You think the Grey Wardens will give you safe harbor once all this is done? Surely you are not so naive.
I am willing to take my chances.
And if you are wrong?
Then I will be dead. One does not do what I do and fear death so very greatly.
There are fates worse than death.
And one of them is being unable to choose which master you serve. Trust me, my dear, I am well pleased with my current direction.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I almost wish I didn't. Half of us aren't getting any sleep, the way you two carry on all night. That's, kind of you, I suppose. Anyway, I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. It seems he only ever has one thing on his mind. I question the wisdom of a Grey Warden being involved in such an affair. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
So I imagine it has been some time for you, Leliana.
Some time for me? I do not know what you mean.
Some time since you last knocked boots, shall we say? You did just come from the cloistered life, no?
Of course it has been some time. There are more important things in life than knocking boots, Zevran.
Oh, I'll not argue that. I simply mean that the body has urges given to us by the Maker. Yours must be considerable after all that time.
That is a very personal question.
I mean no offense. I simply offer my services should you ever feel the need for release.
That's very kind of you. Perhaps I should speak to the Grey Warden for advice on whether or not I should accept your offer.
Adventure has changed you, Leliana.
For the better, I hope.
Such sinister glares do you a disservice, dear Morrigan. Yours should be a face that smiles.
Do tell.
Has no one told you? Perhaps that is not surprising, considering you have lived such a sheltered life. Were you a woman of the city, you would be accustomed to men showering you with praise and gifts.
I know as much of men as I need to. I know when one is indulging in pointless flattery, for instance.
It is flattery only if I exaggerate the truth to please you. I am but stating a simple fact.
Tell me, does this work on other women?
I think any woman would like to hear the truth of how her beauty affects a man. Do you not?
I think that sort of manure is best reserved for farming.
Ah, one day you will realize that you have wasted your youth and beauty on bitterness and suspicion. Mark my words.
Remind me to bring you along if we go sailing. The hot air will prove useful.
I have noticed that the painted elf seeks the attention of the Grey Warden.
He certainly does.
I watched many such couplings during the time I spent immobile in Honleith. Or I should say I was forced to watch. You do know that this usually ends in reproduction. I've seen it many times indeed.
Oh, that is not such a terrible thought. Creating a new life can be a great deal of fun.
Not always. When a golem is created, it involves an agony one would not believe. How fun is that, painted elf?
Oh, I don't know. It could be plenty of fun if done right.
Now the painted elf jests with me.
You think so, do you? Have it your way. I've thought about your predicament, my friend.
It has thought of a way to lure birds out of the sky.
I mean, your situation. Being made of stone and such, I imagine it must be terrible for you to see others together, you know?
Together, as in standing next to one another.
I speak of love, my sturdy friend, and the act of love. Surely this must bring you discomfort, knowing you can never partake in such pleasures.
That is disgusting. It was bad enough that I had to suffer the occasional pair of villagers lying in my shade, but the idea of partaking...
You are stoic, my friend, and brave. You do us a great honor by suffering in silence.
I was not suffering, silently or otherwise, until now.
I understand.
She would have to go for an elf.
She who?
You and the warden. We all know what's going on there.
Oh, does that make you jealous, my stout little friend?
Me? Yeah. Last thing I need is another woman in my life.
One wife was enough for you, was she?
Yeah, Bronca was only slightly more woman than I am. Bristle-chin poetess.
Shocking that our fair Grey Warden didn't choose you instead.
Wonders never cease.
He is quite a character, your Zevran, no? He owes you his life. That debt alone makes him beholden to you. And that's saying nothing of your, entanglements. He seems to seek pleasure above all things. But there is more to him, isn't there? He is more complex than he lets on. Yes? I mean, no. Well, not in that way, anyway. I feel that it is in my interest to study those I travel with. And Zevran deserves special scrutiny, seeing that he tried to kill you. But it seems you trust him, judging from your closeness. If you do, then I do too. You haven't led us astray yet. That aside, you do have good taste. He's an attractive one. Thanks for the offer, but I don't think my delicate health could take so much excitement.
So I'm wondering something. What exactly does a woman see in a man like Zevran?
Oh, he's handsome enough for some. Why'd you ask?
No reason. It's just... Doesn't he seem to be a bit too much? The hair, the clothing...
I don't understand. A bit too much what? Do you have a problem with him?
Beyond the fact that he's an assassin who's tried to kill us more than once? No, not really. Do women go for that sort of thing?
Where I come from, they do. Oh, yes.
Huh. Really? I see.
That is rather wily of you, Zevran.
What is so wily of me, oh magical temptress?
Getting in the good graces of the one who decides whether you live or die, not to mention the one who can protect you against your former comrades.
And I am supposed to believe you are here out of a sense of patriotism, perhaps?
Hardly that.
We all have our reasons for doing what we do. Mine happen to come with a set of lovely eyes.
So, let me ask you something. What are your intentions with her?
You speak of her as if she is not present. She's just right over there, you know.
Don't dodge the question. I'm serious.
Is this brotherly concern I detect, or something else? Perhaps you are concerned for me, yes?
I'm just asking what your intentions are. You did try to kill us all, remember?
And now I owe her a blood debt, as she has spared my life. It has brought us closer together.
Is that a smirk? Are you smirking at me?
I assure you, sir, that I am not smirking. No smirking here. No.
Well, just watch yourself, then. I'll be keeping an eye on you.
If you would rather, consider Zevran. What do you think he would advise if he knew the life of his beloved was at risk? I think you know.
Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow? No, not at all. It's a serious question. Do you actually believe him? Really? Why? That's a lot of trust to put in someone who tried to kill you. Yes, the rest of us have noticed that.
You realize that you've been smiling for hours now? Not at all, but you are acting quite the fool. Since the last time you and that rogue Zevran shot glances at each other, in fact. He has his charms, I'll give him that. Certainly he must be quite something in bed for you to risk so much in order to be close to him. I see. Glad to hear it then. 'Tis a bit sickening to watch you two, but I imagine it at least takes your mind from our situation. Have it your way.
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. His demeanor changes when he's with you. There is a tenderness to his gaze I'd never seen till now. Perhaps he just allowed you to see it. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.